welcome to part 90 in my build log series of the Trumpeter 1:200 scale model of the Titanic. Today is a short video because today I am trimming the model. Now what that means is I'm adding things like these little lead weights and I'm also shifting weight around inside the model wherever I can to try to make sure that when she's afloat she sits on an even keel. She's not too down at the head, not down at the stern, sits nice and evenly. Now, just because of the nature of this could have taken 6, 7, 8 hours in case the video would have been very long. However, it actually ended up being a fairly straightforward process, so the video is quite short today. So, without any further ado, let's crack on.
Right, just about to do the trimming process. And as you can see, at the aft, she is probably about 1 centimetre too high. Just see the bottom of the keel there, below the surface, and at the front she's literally almost out the water. Now, first thing to say is of course our batteries go at the front and they ain't in, so that'll do a bit of weighing down for us, but there's a lot of weight that needs to go in here to get this to the right water level. There we go, and as you can see now, still a fair way to go, but it's made a big impact. Now, to weigh the model down, I've bought these fishing weights, which are lead, and these are for the sort of heavy trimming. I've also got some roof lead, which is the sort of thin rolled sheet, and I will use that once we get onto the really fine bits where I only need a few grams here and a few grams there, you know. But for this sort of the starting off heavy work, we'll use these. Now, just as a note, I haven't done any of the masts rigging up because the superstructure is going to come off and on a few times here. As you can see, so this is the whole ship in the water. The bow section's still very much out the water at the front, so we need quite a lot of weight there. The aft section, pretty much spot on, but just to bear in mind that when we press down on the forward section, the aft will pop up a little bit. And the other thing to say is that she does have a slight list to port, probably about 3-4 degrees. So what that's telling us is that we need weight on the starboard side forward. Here we go. As you can see, she's now floating pretty well in the water. So let's see if we can get some close-ups. There's the bow. Push her over to the other side of the bath. There she is, absolutely on the waterline amidships. And then at the stern, just out of the water again at the end. Pretty good. Then if we look down, she's very stable in the water as well. So that's pretty good, right? Happy with that. Now this is the sort of thing that when I get to the boating lake for the first sailing, almost inevitably I'll look at the model when she's a bit further away and I'll go, it's got a little bit of a list, or she's a little bit heavy at the front, or whatever. And at times like that, what I'll do when I first sail the ship, I'll take a bit of lead with me and I can make some finer tuned adjustments when I'm there. You know, at the end of the day, we're in a bathtub here. It's the space is very constrained. Getting sort of visual angles is very constrained as well. It's very difficult to work out exactly if she's floating level because it's very difficult to get the perspective. You can only get this far back in my bathroom. So, you know, what I can achieve here is limited, and what I've achieved so far is very useful. But I would not be at all surprised if, come the maiden voyage, I do need to do a little bit of tweaking just to get things absolutely perfect. But for now, that is a really good start. She is now really ready for the lake.
Now, unfortunately, because of the nature of the trimming process, you know, the ship sort of moving around all over the place and me needing to get quite sort of up close and stuff, I wasn't able to actually film much of the manoeuvring of weights around. But as you can see, this is our forward area for battery number 1, and we've put some supports in to make sure it doesn't slosh around during the sailing, because of course that would impact on the boat's stability quite dramatically. And you can see the two major weights that I've got fitted here. There's one right here, firmly glued in place, and there's also one on the other side, and that was because of the starboard weight we needed to counteract the port list. Now there's no weight at the back, and as you can see, well, there's no trimming weights at the back, and that's because actually, just like the real Titanic, we've got quite a lot of weight there already. We've got these motors, we've got these, you know, big distribution blocks which are pretty heavy. We've got all of our electronics, and then further aft we've got our servo as well, propeller shafts. There's a reasonable amount of metal lying around here, you know, so there's a fair amount of weight at the back of the ship anyway. Then of course we have our second battery, which lies underneath this white piece of plastic. Again, not in situ at the moment. And then forward we have our number 1 battery. Now there is also another weight, which I suspect you won't be able to see, but I might be able to get a photograph of it for you. But it is right at the bow, literally right at the very, very blade at the front of the bow. So I'll see if I can get a photo of that for you now. But the way that these were all sort of put in place is, obviously you get an idea of where the weight is needed just by how the ship sits in the water. And then it's a question of sort of putting these weights in, moving them around a bit. It's complicated, of course, by the need to put the weights in, then put the superstructure back on, take the superstructure back off, make an adjustment, yada, yada, yada. But that was the process, sort of put a weight in, have a look, see what you thought, see if maybe needed a bit more weight further aft, check the water lines, stuff like that, check if she was on an even keel or not. And then once I was very happy, I let it sit there for 10-15 minutes, came back, had another look, made sure I was happy, and then just sort of saturated these weights with glue to make sure that they can't move. And that's the process done. As I say, when I first sail this model in the lake, I will probably take a few sheets of lead with me just in case I need to, you know, pop a little bit of lead in different places to make the model sit absolutely perfect in the water. But that's the sort of thing that I can do. Obviously, you know, trimming is by its nature something that you can come back to quite easily. So, for now, I'm pretty happy with the result I've got. And just for reference, here is a photo of that lead weight right at the bow of the ship. One thing just to show you, I've installed one of these stickers. You can get them off RS Components, and they're very useful. I use them quite a lot at work as well. These are temperature sensitive stickers, but importantly, they only change once. So you can see this sort of scale up here. These squares go black when the sticker gets to that temperature, and then they remain black. So you can put them on a piece of equipment, and then over time you can see what the maximum temperature that equipment got to. So I put these on the motors just to see how much temperature they're generating, how hot they're going to get. I'm hoping that really they don't get beyond about sort of 40, 46, 47 degrees centigrade. But it's always useful to test these things just in case things are getting hotter than you'd imagined, because once you know, you can take steps to address those issues. If you don't know about the issues, obviously you can't. So there you go, quite a swift video today. So what I'll do now is I'll leave you with some photos of the model in the water with the lights on. If you do have any questions or comments, pop them down below and I'll do my best to get back to you. If you've enjoyed this, do please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.